The Cuyahoga County Council regular meeting for Tuesday, December 6th is now called to order. Andrea, would you please call the roll?
Good evening, everyone. It is now 5:08 p.m. and as a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Mr. Schron.
Here.
Ms. Conwell.
Present.
Ms. Turner.
Here.
Ms. Stevens.
Present.
Ms. Simon.
Here.
Ms. Baker.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Present.
Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Mr. Tuma.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Council President Jones.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Andrea. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Andrea, has anyone signed in for public comment?
Yes, one person did, Mr. Larry Heller.
Hi, I'm Larry Heller with Northern Ohio Recovery Association, NORA. Thank you again for this opportunity. Some of you are probably tired of hearing me by now. I've been talking about the jail for quite a long time, and I understand there's a new proposal now to put some money into starting a fund for a jail. And I just wanted to share that, I've talked a number of times about that treatment is more effective than incarceration for producing long-term behavior change. And I think most importantly, before we do anything concerning a jail, we have to reduce our jail population. We have to help people instead of just punishing and repeating. People are going to jail, and when they leave, they just come back. We're not doing anything to help them when we put them in jail. We need to address the real problem before we can talk about the building. I think it's important to invest in treatment rather than incarceration. The evidence overwhelmingly supports that treatment is more effective than incarceration for producing long-term behavior change. And we want to reduce population. We've all heard some numbers, including in and out of these rooms, that we've heard something like, 90% of the people who are there have to be there because they're a danger. I have questioned those numbers every time I've heard them, been questioning them for many, many months. Never, ever have we seen any evidence whatsoever to support that. We have heard some anecdotal evidence on several occasions. People are held beyond their release date. It's unconscionable. People are held in pretrial longer than the maximum sentence that would be allowed if they were convicted. That's unconscionable. Not only that, that creates tremendous pressure to accept a bad plea agreement. But most important, and also many people who have already been determined not a danger, been eligible and appropriate for release, are still being held because they can't pay a small cash bond. We've heard there's over 100 of those on any given day. With an average pretrial detention of over 100 days, and costs were close to $100 even before COVID, last annual report I saw. We are choosing to spend $10,000 to incarcerate someone because they can't pay $200 to get out after they've been proven not to be a danger. So the most important thing, though, treatment is more effective than incarceration, and this has an even greater effect on people with a greater criminal history. I have cited evidence on that several times. Anyone that wants to hear the evidence or hear the sources, I'm happy to provide you with the sources for that information. Treatment is more effective than incarceration, even greater effect for greater criminal history. Let's fix the problem and let's help people. Thank you.
Council President, that concludes the public comment portion for today's meeting.
All right. Can we have a motion to approve our minutes as presented on our agenda?
So moved. Simon.
It's properly moved by Councilwoman
Second.
Simon and
Conwell.
seconded by Councilwoman Conwell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The minutes are adopted. Legislation introduced by council. Consideration of a resolution of council for first reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Mr. Chair, we're
Opposed?
not going to have announcements from Council President?
No.
Okay. Can I have an announcement?
We will make announcements at the miscellaneous,
All right,
Time.
thank you.
yes. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Council President, can I get a clarification of who seconded the motion?
Simon.
Thank you.
Oh, wait.
No, Conwell.
Oh, you did. Thanks. Snuck that one in.
Rules, that was not me.
All right, we had a motion to suspend the rules. It was moved by Simon, seconded by Conwell. We had the vote. All those were in favor. They said aye. There was
Aye.
none in opposition. And we will continue on. Andrea, are you all right with the proceedings?
Yes, Resolution 2022-0441, approving the expiration of pending legislation in accordance with County Council Rule 11F.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Now, this is a routine matter. However, the clerk is prepared to address the item if necessary. If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Consideration of resolutions of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution 2022-0442, awarding a total sum not to exceed $100,000 to the City of Brooklyn for the Memorial Trail Connector and Stickney Creek Restabilization Project from the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to Public Works, Procurement, and Contracting Committee.
Resolution 2022-0443, awarding a total sum not to exceed $100,000 to the City of South Euclid for Year 2 of the Deer Sterilization Pilot Program from the District 11 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Education, Environment, and Sustainability Committee. Committee report and consideration of a resolution of council for second reading.
Resolution 2022-0416, awarding a total sum not to exceed $250,000 to the Village of Mayfield for the Civic Center ADA and Energy Efficiency Upgrades Project from the District 6 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
And this item will move to the January 10th, 2022 Council Agenda, 2023 Council Agenda for consideration for third reading adoption. Committee reports and consideration of resolutions of council for second reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution 2022-0417, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County Non-Bargaining Classification Plan.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. This resolution was heard in the Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee on Tuesday, November 29th. Albert Bouchahine proposed one new classification in the IT department and 6 revised classifications, all of which are described as routine. The request was unanimously approved for second reading adoption under suspension of the rules. I ask for your support of this resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0418, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County Non-Bargaining Classification Plan.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. This, too, was heard in the Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee on Tuesday, November 29th. Albert Bouchahine proposed the creation of one new classification, a GIS technician for the Planning Commission. This resolution was also proposed deleting a classification of the HHS area for an early child care program specialist position that had been vacant, and the department has no plans to utilize the classification moving forward. There were questions from the committee on deleting this classification, and it was later explained to committee members that SPA 3 Program Manager and PO 3 Replacement Upgrade to PO 2 position with support from the Administrative Assistant will take over the duties of the early child care program specialists. Also included in this resolution are 4 routine class maintenance revisions. Finally, there is 1 position moving from the HR department to the Sheriff's Department in connection with the creation of the Sheriff's HR Department. The request was unanimously approved, second reading adoption under suspension of the rules. I ask for your support of this resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0419, approving the Metro Health System Year 2023 budget in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Section 339.06D, with the understanding that the allocation of county funds to the system has been made through adoption of the 2022-2023 biennial operating budget and capital improvements program for 2023.
Move to adopt.
Second, Conwell.
All right, this item was previously discussed in Committee of the Whole.
Mr. President?
And Councilman Miller, you have the floor.
Yes. My colleagues, this is a routine resolution approving the mental health system budget. I will discuss our subsidy when we get to the 2023 update. I recommend passage on second reading suspension.
Councilman Schron.
Yes, we've got a number of items that are coming for us on Metro Health, and I think that just because this is the first one to be coming up, I just want to make sure that we as a body pay attention to what's going on here. When we are providing $32 million, as we have done for year after year after year, our obligations as taxpayers and this money, the actions that we know are showing up in the media, that we have an obligation to exercise our oversight responsibilities as the fiscal constraints within this county. It's our job to watch the county and the taxpayers' money. And so we have these obligations to make sure that we are doing everything possible to exercise that oversight responsibility. I know there are a couple items on Metro Health, but this being the first one, I wanted to bring this up. During the quarter, I like what the council president has suggested, that the distribution of funds as we get to that resolution will be done over on a quarterly basis. It's my belief that we should be spending our time in this next quarter to actually do the digging into and exercising our oversight responsibilities. If that means asking people to come before this body to tell us what's going on, or as we have the authority to subpoena them, whether it be board members, whether it be employees or even ex-employees, I think that we have an obligation to pay attention in our oversight responsibilities to what's going on as to what's showing up in the media, whether that means talking to auditors, how they do their monthly closings or their annual closing. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, and again, we will address this during the biennial budget legislation. All right, at this time, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0420, approving the Metro Health System's policies and procedures to participate in one or more joint purchasing associations for the purpose of acquiring supplies, equipment, and services provided through joint purchasing arrangements in order to achieve beneficial purchasing arrangements for the year 2023 in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Section 339.05.
Move to adopt.
Second. Mr. President, my colleagues, this is a routine resolution required annually to approve Metro's participation in cost-saving cooperative purchase agreements. I recommend passage on second reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, the resolution is adopted. Consideration of resolutions of council for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0391, awarding a total sum not to exceed $89,642,027 to the West Shore Council of Governments for the purpose of purchasing new and replacement equipment for the West Shore Technical Response Team from the District 1 and District 2 ARPA Community Grant Funds.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, my colleagues, this resolution provides $89,642 in ARPA funding to the West Shore Technical Team for the purpose of of purchasing needed safety equipment to handle large fires, hazardous materials, and water rescue. Funding is split between Districts 1 and 2. Thanks to Ms. Baker for your most helpful collaboration. I ask for the support of my colleagues.
Thank you, and if I may, I am very pleased to join Councilman Miller in supporting the West Shore Technical Response Team that is supported by and was requested by the West Shore Council of Governments. To further expand, the response team is a fire department based in specialty rescue and is an all-hazards response team that services the residents of the West Shore region, including Bay Village, Fairview Park, Lakewood, North Olmsted, Rocky River, and Westlake. The funds requested would be used to purchase frontline emergency rescue equipment, and it allows the rescuer to function under the most adverse conditions, as was stated, natural disasters or high-level emergencies, to render aid to those in need. This project, as was mentioned, would also support the safety and security of waterfront communities and those prone to urban flooding. So I, along with Councilman Miller, ask that you support this resolution.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
Resolution 2022-0392, awarding a total sum not to exceed $1,500,000 to the City of Brook Park for the Brook Park Central Campus Green Storm Project from the District 2 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President and my colleagues, this and the next 4 items covers District 2 ARPA grants. Mr. President, may I have permission to discuss them together? Thank you. All successful applicants responded to the formal District 2 application and scoring process and were recommended by the proposal review team. This resolution provides $1.5 million to the City of Brook Park for a 2-phase project to demolish Brook Park Memorial School and build a retention basin and landscaping to reduce basement flooding, improve the environment, enhance public safety, and enhance recreational opportunities in the Brook Park Central Campus. Resolution 393 provides $100,000 to the Rose Centers for senior transportation. We're working with them to facilitate purchase of an electric vehicle. Resolution 394 provides $97,170 to the City of Lakewood in cooperation with RTA for the alternative fuel circulator study. Resolution 395 provides $43,015 to the Journey Center for capital upgrades to their building to assist with domestic violence services. And Resolution 396 provides $750,000 to the West Park CAMS Development Corporation, which will be matched by the City of Cleveland and also assisted by the Metro Parks for construction of a connector between the CAMS Corners neighborhood and the Metro Parks trailhead near the Little Met Golf Course. I ask for the support of my colleagues for these transformational projects.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Mr. President,
Yes, Councilman.
I'd just like to be added to our 2022-0396, the Cam's Corner one. I thought I did that in committee, and I apologize.
Let's add Councilman Marty Sweeney's name to that item.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Okay. Resolution 2022-0393, awarding a total sum not to exceed $100,000 to the Rose Centers for Aging Well for the Rose Centers Meals Programs from the District 2 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right,
Conwell.
all those in favor say aye.
Mr. President, I want to add
Aye.
my name.
Let's add Councilwoman Simon's name. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0394, awarding a total sum not to exceed $97,170 to the City of Lakewood for the Alternative Fuel Circulator Feasibility Study from the District 2 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0395, awarding a total sum not to exceed $43,015 to the Journey Center for Safety and Healing for repairs and upgrades for the Emergency Domestic Violence Shelter from the District 2 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0396, awarding a total sum not to exceed $750,000 to the West Park CAMS Neighborhood Development for the Old Lorraine Connector Project from the District 2 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Discussion? Now, is this the item Councilman Sweeney had your name?
Yes.
Yes.
I did it a
All right.
little prematurely.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0397, awarding a total sum not to exceed $225,000 to the Bail Project, Inc. for bail disruption services from the District 7, District 8, District 9, and District 11 ARPA Community Grant Fund and the general fund made available by the American Rescue Plan Act Revenue Replacement Provision.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President?
Yes.
This matter was heard in committee, and I just want to point out how important it is and how grateful I am to have the support of Council President and the other colleagues who contributed money to this particular cause. We hear time and time again how county council should invest in treatment, and, you know, this county council does not sentence people to serve time in jail. County council does not set bail limits or quota. County council does not hold people in pretrial. Our job is essentially to make sure that we have a humane jail, but we do everything we can to make sure that there's alternatives, including diversion, including central booking. And this is another example of where county council can invest in resources to make sure that people do not remain in the county jail unnecessarily and lose time from work, lose family. So this is really essential, and I'm grateful that we've been able to participate in this and make a difference in the way we can. So ask for everybody's support.
Good. And again, I commend Councilwoman Simon and others for their work on this project. I'm happy to be able to help and contribute a few dollars to this because it does speak to our commitment to doing what we can. Bail reform is critical. It's important, but it is not our direct wheelhouse. So as we have nibbled around the edges, dodged tangentially all we can to be a part of the solution, we've heard in our public comments how important it is to the community, and this forum is always open to the community. But again, it is not our wheelhouse directly. So it is an opportunity again to show where our commitment to the overall criminal justice system reform that is needed, and we are working hard to do our part. And we look forward to working with our other partners who are the elements of the criminal justice system and all that they can do as well. So I'll turn it over to Cheryl Stevens at this time.
Can I add my name?
Let's add Councilwoman Cheryl Stevens' name. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Legislation introduced by executive. Consideration of resolutions for first reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0444, amending the 2022-2023 biennial operating budget for 2022 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund and appropriation transfers as well as cash transfers.
Move to adopt. Mr. President, my colleagues, this resolution is the regular fiscal agenda of budget amendments. The answers to our questions to OBM are on your desks. Most items are routine, involving primarily appropriation and closeout of grants, transfers between accounts to cover year-end personnel costs, and reductions of appropriations where funds are not needed. The most notable item is a long-awaited $2,274,186 appropriation in the general fund to cover the discrepancy between our book balance and our cash balance. We spent years of accounting to investigate this issue and to resolve discrepancies where possible. This is an issue that has roots back to prior to the new government. But we are now funding and writing off the remaining shortage so that we can start fresh with our books and our cash in agreement. I recommend passage on first reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0445, authorizing an economic development loan in an amount not to exceed $1,700,000 to FMCFP LLC or its designee to assist with funding project costs of a mixed-use development project located at 10 300 Cedar Avenue in the city of Cleveland, which will include 199 apartment units and a 40,000 square foot first-floor Meijer grocery store.
Move to adopt.
Second.
This was heard in discussion prior to our meeting, and it's an exciting project. It's actually, we want to point out that it's actually 199 units that are all going to be right downtown, right next to the Cleveland Clinic, and it's also going to be providing a 40,000 square foot Myers store, one of their first ones of this size that actually addresses the food desert aspects of where it is. So I think that there were some questions about having another store not too far away. There's no doubt that having grocery stores, numerous grocery stores, is a good thing for the residents in the community. And they're going to have plenty of parking for their local community residents to come to. And so it's a very exciting project, and total expenditure will be a little over $60 million, and the property value increase alone will be $54 million, almost $55 million going into the community. So I encourage everyone to support this. Thank you very much.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
At this time, Councilmember Yvonne Conwell has asked that her name be added as a sponsor. Resolution 2022-0446, authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the State of Ohio Department of Administrative Services, Office of Information Technology, in an amount not to exceed $560,000 for software licenses, network connectivity, data storage, and backup on an IBM LPR mainframe for the period September 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023.
Move to adopt.
Second. Mr. President, my colleagues, this is a routine data storage contract with the state of Ohio for $560,000 from 9/1/2022 through 12/31/2023. As discussed earlier this afternoon, I recommend passage on first reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0447, authorizing a contract with Woolpert, Inc., doing business as Data Cloud Solutions, in the amount not to exceed $386,000 for integration of CamaCloud software platform appraisal technology for use by the Fiscal Office, effective upon signatures of all parties through December 31st, 2025.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, to the clerk, are we on 447 or 448? The description with the 12/31/2025 date sounded like 448.
We are on 447. They both have the same date.
Okay, thank you. This resolution is a $386,000 contract with Woolpert for integration of appraisal technology paid for from the Real Estate Assessment Fund. I recommend passage on first reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0448, authorizing a contract with Woolpert, Inc., doing business as Data Cloud Solutions, in the amount not to exceed $1,155,690 for CamaCloud software platform, hardware, software licenses, maintenance, and support for use by the Fiscal Office, effective upon signature of all parties through December 31st, 2025.
Move to adopt.
Second. Mr. President, my colleagues, this resolution is a $1,155,690 contract with Walpert through 12/31/2025 for hardware licenses and support for the CAMA Cloud software system, which supports our property tax system and is also paid for by the Real Estate Assessment Fund. I recommend passage on first reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0449, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Child Care Resource Center of Cuyahoga County, doing business as Starting Point, for out-of-school time services for youth for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2023, to change the scope of services effective January 1st, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,900,000.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. This matter was heard previously today, and it extends a contract with Starting Point to provide out-of-school time for our youth throughout the county, and I ask for your support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading.
Resolution 2022-0414, authorizing an amendment to contract number 2259 with Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio for fiscal agent services for the Families and Schools Together program, fast work activities, and parent services for the period January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2023, to change the scope of services effective October 1st, 2022, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $654,000.
This item will move to the December 16th special council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0426, making an award on requisition 9647 to KS Associates, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $700,000 for preliminary engineering design services for various FEMA lakefront sites, effective upon signature of all parties through December 31st, 2025.
This item will move to the December 16th special council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0427, making an award on requisition 10237 to GHD Services, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $1,400,000 for professional engineering design services for the Gold Coast Lakefront Multi-Model Facility project in the city of Lakewood, effective upon signature of all parties through December 31st, 2024.
This item will move to the December 16th special council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0434, authorizing a grant award with College Now Greater Cleveland, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $1 million for the disbursement and monitoring of funds as fiscal agent for Say Yes Cleveland, commencing upon agreement signature of all parties through July 23rd, 2023.
This item will move to the December 16th special council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption. Committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of suspending the rules say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution 2022-0423, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Maple Heights Commerce II, LLC, for lease of space of Satellite Office Number 3, located at 21100 Southgate Park Boulevard in the city of Maple Heights. For the period February 1st, 2007 through December 31st, 2022, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2027, effective January 1st, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $385,950.
Move to adopt?
Second.
There's no discussion. I will, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And at this time, Council President Jones has requested his name be added as a sponsor.
Thank you, Andrea.
Resolution 2022-0424, making an award on requisition 8691 to Karen Ganofsky, DVM, in the amount not to exceed $550,000 for medical treatment for canines at the Cuyahoga County Animal Shelter, effective upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 3 years.
Move to adopt.
Second.
This matter was heard in Councilman Tuma's committee, I believe, and this is a contract with the vet to provide services to the dogs at the shelter.
All right, all those in favor? Any further discussion?
I can add my name also.
Oh, shuck. The councilwoman's absolutely correct. They were here and discussed that, and the importance of getting that contract is very important, so.
It had the word dog in it.
It's a dog-eat-dog world, so let's move forward on that.
All right.
Second reading suspension, let's move it. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, ayes have it, the resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2022-0425, making an award on requisition 10100 to Wadsworth and Associates, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $689,800 for phased installation of uninterruptible power sources at the Juvenile Justice Center, effective upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 12 months.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And Mr. President, Mr. Reimer was here before the Public Works Committee on November 30th, 2022 to discuss this legislation. This equipment is at the end of its useful life and is now in a critical stage, and the equipment will be installed by the county staff, and the contract is for the parts and machinery, and it is an extended 3-year maintenance warranty as well, and it's coming 100% funded from the capital fund account, and I would ask for my colleagues' support on this important piece of legislation moving forward.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0429, authorizing an economic development loan in an amount not to exceed $1,200,000 to J. Hess Holdings, Inc., or its designee, for acquisition and renovation of a vacant building located at 9200 Noble Drive in the city of Brecksville, to be used as headquarters for Physicians Ambulance Service, Inc.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, this is an economic development loan, which is going to be coming out at a rate of 3.5%, which is higher than what we're actually getting on our own money invested. So it's a win-win. They get a little bit better rate than maybe they get off the streets, and we're getting a significantly higher investment on our dollars. It is a loan. There's no grants involved, and we also have the folks from the Hess organization standing behind this with their own personal guarantees. So I think this is truly a win-win for everybody, and encourage everybody to support it.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0430, authorizing an award to the Cleveland Foundation in the total amount not to exceed $5 million for the Opioid Innovation Project Fund of the Cleveland Foundation, commencing upon contract signature of all parties.
Move to adopt.
Second.
This was heard in committee and was unanimously supported by the committee. The Cleveland Foundation, of course, is the very first public community foundation in the entire United States. They control assets of over $2.5 billion. They're going to be watching these funds on behalf of the county at no charge whatsoever. So that's an excellent way in which we've got oversight responsibilities in regards to it. The innovation fund will also have oversight from the council, from the county executive, and public members, supported almost very similar to what we did when we created the Economic Development Commission 12 years ago when this body was first founded out there. And I encourage everyone to support this matter.
Just a question,
Sure.
If I can. What exactly, what are they targeting for potential recipients of this money? I mean, we're turning it over to them.
They will, yeah, they'll be identifying, in addition to the council representative and the county representative, two from the county executive, one from the council. They will be having experts in the area of healthcare, innovation, ideas about how to, they'll be targeting solutions, not necessarily in the treatment side, but on the product, software development, things that to think outside the box of ways in which we're not getting necessarily closer with our solutions right now. I just attended an event hearing the speaker who wrote the book, The American Cartel, we now have over 500,000 deaths. This was just a way in which saying, is there another way? Is there a better approach? Is there another alternative that they could be targeting to create solutions that could develop into products and processes that could help to stop the opioid crisis from continuing to grow. It's not going to, there's still going to be treatment dollars going out there. This is looking for an alternative.
Okay.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
If I could, just to follow up for Councilman Sean, and I appreciate the Councilwoman's interest in the questions, because we did have robust discussion about this, and there was actually some questions as to how much money should go into that fund initially and who was going to be involved. And Councilman Schron and Councilwoman Stevens and several of us on the committee, had that debate, and this is what we arrived at as a compromise. And I mean, I was speculative myself as to what the procedures would be and such. And after hearing more and more from the experts on it, I feel much more comfortable moving forward. And I do think that it's a innovative and unique opportunity for council to be one of the first in the state to actually help with these help reduce the opioid epidemic that's out there from a different angle, different perspective. And one of the things that they assured us is that treatment will be continuing through other sources that we're familiar with. And this is, again, just an outside-the-box look at things moving forward. So I would ask for my colleagues' support on this important piece of legislation.
Mr. President, if I might add?
Yes.
One of the reasons why my vote changed from a small amount of money to a larger amount of money for this fund was the willingness of the folks who lead in innovation and entrepreneurship in this town to take a look at working with the Cleveland Foundation to make this program-related income. And so if there is a success, if there are 10 things we invest in and only one of them is successful, that one successful one will begin to generate income to help other successful ideas. And that is incredibly creative, because for those of us who have careers in the public sector or have been elected officials for a long time, we invest and invest and invest, and when there's a success, we see the success go all to the private sector and none of it come back to the public sector. In this case, they're willing to do the program-related income for Cuyahoga County, and for that reason alone, we should be very proud of the negotiations that took place between council and the leadership of the group who will be undertaking this work.
And as a lot of you know, I'm very passionate about the topics that were just raised as far as economic development and growth and jobs creation. But this is not just that. This is the success of some of the funds and things of that nature are measured in terms of how many jobs, what the revenue, what happened. This success is going to be measured on the human life that we could save. If we can save 1 life, 10 lives, 100 lives, because a new idea or a new product that didn't exist, a new concept that wasn't out there, could be found, and look forward to that. So I would encourage my entire colleagues to support this on this. Is there a risk? Of course there's a risk. Is the reward of 1 life well worth it? And I hope that is what I would ask for your support on. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll support this. It's similar to the water economy grant we gave to the Cleveland Water Alliance to innovate different types of economic development options for job attraction, but innovative solutions to problems in the lake. So this is a similar partnership.
It is similar to the water, and it's also going to be similar to what we're going to see, I think, later on when we talk about the National Guard program. It's going to be innovative also. That you're going to hear that later on when it comes up as one of our items. So it is thinking outside the box, but sometimes that can bring results. Thank you.
And Councilwoman Simon, I believe your instincts were correct. But all that we've heard in committee, I was moved to be supportive. We had those same questions and concerns. But let's continue. Let's go down the line. I think I saw Councilman Sweeney's hand, then Councilman Miller, and we'll just continue.
Thank you, Mr. President. And since I've been here, I've been talking about prevention. And with my chairman, Jack Schron, the 10 million was where I was at, because it's only 10% of the overall opioid settlement, my understanding. But 5 million is what we talked about and what came to fruition here, and I'm fully supportive of it. But I really just want to keep pushing it, because when the drug companies caused this epidemic, they realized that they were overly wrong doing it, and they said, here's your money, do what you want with it, and don't just treat it. Let's try to figure out how to prevent it in the future, because these pills are not going away. And as Jack said, if we figure out something, how cool would that be as council-driven initiative helps solve a crisis that continues today? So I was excited at the 10 because of the 10% of the overall, but 5 is fine. That's a great first start. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
Mr. President, my colleagues, the fact that we keep suffering 700 fatalities a year from opiates, it's easy to forget about it because it doesn't get news attention every day, but it just continues and is totally unacceptable. And we have now lost more people in Cuyahoga County alone due to opiate addiction than the whole country lost on 9/11. It's something that we just have to keep front and center in our minds, and we're taking a lot of action, but it calls for new and innovative solutions, and we just have to find new ways of getting control of this problem. And so I strongly support the legislation, and I commend both Councilman Schron and Executive Budish for their leadership in helping bring this to our attention. Thank you.
Further questions? Yes, comment?
Mr. Sweeney, and I appreciate your comments, and I think a lot of people know that I'm a dog on a bone sometimes on issues, and I intend to chase those same drug companies to say, this is where you should also be putting money in, and being part of the solution, not necessarily part of the check writing. And I think that they probably got very little that they put on their national reports or their annual reports from writing a check for the to Judge Polster's court. This is a way they can help their image and help their brand and help what they can do. And I intend to write to every one of those major drug companies. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0431, authorizing affordable housing loans to various organizations in the total amount not to exceed $2,500,000 for the Affordable Housing Gap Financing Program. I'm sorry, I was going to finish
Continue.
reading. For items A and B, A through D, as listed on the agenda.
Mr. President, these 4 projects will increase the availability of affordable housing in Cuyahoga County significantly. The work in finding this funding and making it available, I want to send kudos to the Department of Development for making sure that we could use this money, not see it go back to the U.S. Treasury. And so these builders, who each project is seeing some inflationary level, were able to utilize these funds and will break ground or use it to cover increased project costs in the next 60 days to 4 months. So I want to encourage my colleagues to all vote in support of this.
All right. Madam Clerk, please add my name to this item.
Mine as well, Mr. President.
Duly noted.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And Madam Clerk, let me ask, back in Resolution 445, I didn't hear my name. This was the Fairmont project, mixed-use project on Cedar Avenue with the Meyer grocery store.
445.
445. Was my name added to that?
1 second.
Nope, only mine.
No, I'll add your name.
Please add my name.
Thank you. Resolution 2022-0432, authorizing amendments to an agreement and contracts for the Comprehensive Case Management and Employment Program, Employment Education and Training Services for Young Adults in connection with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act for the period July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $7,350,000 for the various for the various providers A through E as listed on the agenda.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. This matter was heard in committee. These are federal dollars exclusively from WIA, and this will help the high school students get workforce experience and training, and ask for your support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2022-0433, authorizing an amendment to a contract with United Labor Agency Incorporated for operation of the Workforce Service Center, job seekers and employer services, and management of the on-the-job training program for the period July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2022, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $3,059,563.47.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. This matter was heard in committee as well. This is a contract with United Labor Agency which runs the one-stop shop at 1910 Carnegie, and they've been doing a great job. And I think they'll go out for an RFP next round, but this just enables them to continue on with that work.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0435, making an award on requisition 7603 to Canopy Child Advocacy in the amount not to exceed $5,800,000 for implementation of a child protection teams model to address and prevent child abuse in Cuyahoga County for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2025.
Move to adopt. Second. Mr. President, this is the second reading suspension to assist this pilot to start hiring and get prepared for the new year rollout of this pilot program. Ask my colleagues for their support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0436, making an award on requisition 9347 with Strata Collaborative doing business as Inside Track in the amount not to exceed $2,500,000 for coaching services to Ohio National Guard scholarship recipients for the Pay for Success program for the period October 1st, 2022 through April 14th, 2030.
Move to adopt. Oh, second.
Mr. President, this was a new innovative pilot to assist Ohio National Guardsmen, individuals to overcome various obstacles and complete their education. Disparity recognized that minority students are in the majority of not being able to complete, so this is taking a look at that to bring about some change in our community. I ask my colleagues for their support.
As a veteran, I cannot speak more highly of this program and recommend it to all my colleagues, because what better way than to use taxpayer money to help support a National Guardsman who was out there. If anybody worked at the food bank or saw the food bank, those were our National Guards people out there. If you went to any of the disaster areas that take place in the state of Ohio, those are our National Guards people out there. So what better way than to encourage them to go on, get further education, get their degree, and sometimes what it comes down to is actually just coaching and making sure that they can get that guidance to go on and get that education, because sometimes they might be struggling, and how do you move to that next level? And so this is coaching that's going to, coming from other National Guards people, folks who were part of the program out there, and it was a very creative way to use the Pay for Success program. If you remember, we said we wouldn't be spending any money unless we actually had success. We still are sitting on the entire amount of money, and now we're going to try it again with another program, and I know this will be a success. And I encourage everybody also to support it, and I would ask my name be added to this list. Thank you.
Just a quick question, if I can. So this is Pay for Success money rolled over from the prior
Yep, we never, it was a
program.
creative way to use it.
And so are there, we'll have metrics, right, to follow through on this scholarship and program
Yes, and they're only paid.
if they succeed?
Yes.
They have to
Same
succeed.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. President, could you add my name?
Let's add Councilman Sweeney's name.
And my name as well,
Councilwoman
Mr. President.
Stevens.
Thank you.
Ann Turner.
Turner.
Please add my name as well.
Councilwoman Conwell. Did I hear another name?
Sure,
Councilman.
You got me
Toomer.
right.
Yes.
you can add Simon.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Resolution 2022-0437, making an award on requisition 10016 to Belfair Jewish Children's Bureau in the amount not to exceed $504,000 for mentoring services for youth in permanent custody of the Division of Children and Family Services for the period October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2024.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, these mentoring services is just one of the services Belfair contracts with the county on. It was fully vetted in the Health and Human Services Committee, and we asked for second reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0438, authorizing an amendment to a master contract with various providers for the SNAP to Skills Employment and Training Services for the period October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2022, to extend the time period to September 30th, 2023, and for additional funds in the total amount not to exceed $1,414,475 for the various providers A through G.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, SNAP is a needed resource throughout this county. Also, the employment and training services is very important. So it was fully vetted in Health and Human Services Committee. We asked them, my colleagues' support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0439, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Lutheran Metropolitan Ministry for adult guardianship services for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2022, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $605,285.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, this was heard in Health and Human Services. It's a critical service for residents who need guardianship services as aging occurs. I ask for my colleagues' support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0440, making an award on requisition 10161 with various providers in the amount not to exceed $6,468,017.08 for the Ohio Works First program for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023 for the various providers listed on the agenda A through B.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, this was also heard in Health and Human Services Committee. We have a lot of dollars invested in terms of the county for Ohio Works First programs and just workforce in general. I ask for my colleagues' support and passage of this legislation.
Mr. President,
Yes.
due to my wife's employment at the centers, please record me as recused on this item. Thank you.
All right. Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. With one recusal. Thank you. Consideration of resolutions for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0401, adopting the 2022-2023 biennial operating budget and capital improvements program annual update for 2023.
Move to adopt.
Second.
So let's take a moment. We will allow Council Trevor McAleer to present.
Good evening, council members, Trevor McAleer, council staff. In front of you today is a proposed substitute to the 2023 biennial budget update. And what the proposed substitute does, it provides additional parameters around the Health and Human Services levy subsidy to the Metro Health hospital system. Currently, the county, once the budget is approved, automatically distributes the annual subsidy amount to the hospital in 12 monthly installments, which equates to about an average of $2.7 million per month. The language in the proposed substitute authorizes the fiscal officer and the department to distribute the first three monthly payments to Metro, but requires council to approve the release of the remaining 9 months of funds. This will provide additional time for council to receive the information that you asked for at today's committee of the whole, as well as allow time for the CEO, who just started yesterday, to come in and reassure to this body, as well as the public, that the levy dollars are going towards those most in need in the community.
All right, thank you, Trevor.
Mr.
Let me
President.
take a moment, Councilman Miller, I will get to you in a moment. Let me take a moment. At this moment, let me say this. This proposed substitute includes an amendment to add additional safeguards around the county's annual subsidy to Metro Health. I want to be clear about why this change is being made. County Council has consistently supported dedicating a substantial amount of health and human service levy dollars to support Metro Health in providing critically needed care to indigent patients in Cuyahoga County. Given the recent allegations about misuse of funds at Metro Health, however, this council has a duty to fulfill its oversight responsibilities. The Metro Health Board of Trustees directly oversees the operations of the hospital, but we also have a duty to ensure county tax dollars are being spent appropriately. This proposed amendment will ensure Metro Health receives continuous funding through the first quarter of 2023, giving the new CEO time to come in and assess the operations of the health system and report back to this council. I anticipate that the full annual distribution will be authorized by council for the remainder of 2023, but we will only do so once we are satisfied that county tax dollars are being properly managed. With that being said, one will start with a motion to accept the proposed substitute.
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. At this time, Councilman Miller, if you would have a few words.
Mr. President and my colleagues, I support the council president's amendment as a balanced and appropriate way of continuing support for Metro Health, but also ensuring that there is proper and needed oversight. And, Mr. President, would you like me to present the rest of the resolution at this time, or would you like to dispose of the substitute first?
Not at this time. We first would like to see if your colleagues have any comments or any input that they'd like to add.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Schron.
And I too support the idea of the concept of the substitute. We'll see where that will take us. It'll take us at least through the first quarter to see whether or not we're getting the proper response from Metro. When you actually do a simple multiplier of that, this is $350 to $400 million that we have in over a 10-year period of time. We have an obligation to the taxpayers as to how those monies are being utilized, and it's clear that oversight is never been more important than what we're looking at in these next 90 days. Thank you.
If not, okay, all those in favor of accepting the proposed substitute, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Now, all those in favor of...
Mr. President?
Yes, Councilman, the floor is yours.
Mr. President, my colleagues, this resolution updates the second year of the 2022 to 2023 biennial budget using more recent experience from this year. Department-specific additional costs, most notably for the sheriff, medical examiner, and DCFS, are incorporated into the budget. The adjustment to the non-bargaining salary Schedule A based on our market study is also incorporated to assist with with recruitment and retention. Council amendments included an additional $10 million for the sheriff to more accurately reflect anticipated overtime expenses and $100,000 for Public Works to do an inventory and study of the county's monuments, and the amendment regarding mental health, Metro Health, that we just substituted. Our revenue forecast has also meaningfully improved since we did the original budget a year ago. Therefore, the budget update does not reflect a significant change in the relationship between anticipated receipts and expenditures. However, it is noted that the current budget numbers probably do not sufficiently reflect likely inflationary increase in the costs of contracted services. I recommend passage of the budget update resolution on third reading as substituted.
All right. All those in favor of adopting the resolution on its merits as substituted, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2022-0405, authorizing Cuyahoga County match funding forgivable loans to various organizations in the total amount not to exceed $5 million for various projects in connection with the State of Ohio Brownfield Remediation Funding Match Program for the period December 1st, 2022 through November 30th, 2025, items A through R.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Well, I can,
It's been properly moved.
Councilman Schron.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether you're going to pick up on the brownfield or I was going to pick up on it.
Go ahead.
Obviously, this is an exciting project because it touches brownfields, and as someone who's very committed to saving brownfields and reclaiming these as industrial sites and other sites out there, I'm thrilled to see that this piece of legislation coming before us.
And these are great examples of how we can clean up sites that might not otherwise look on the surface like they can be cleaned up, but these are all great projects, and Cuyahoga County has a history of being able to invest in cleaning things up, including the site of, I believe, the food bank, correct?
Food bank and Jurgens.
Food bank and Jurgens, and cleaned up a site where people serve food on a daily basis.
Yeah, and just to reiterate Council Simon's comments on that, Mr. President, we all know that we spend a lot of time looking at a site, and this is just an example of how sites can be cleaned up and should not be relegated to not being useful in the future. And so we all know what we went through for the last year and a half. Mr. Gallagher knows it more than anybody, and so this is an example that we can hold up as a flagship of how these things should be done. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman, the floor is
I'd
yours.
also like to just add that some of these items in here have been vacant and abandoned buildings in neighborhoods that are across the street from homeowners. So I appreciate that we're putting this type of funding to assist various residents and homeowners of properties that have been vacant and abandoned. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes, Councilwoman.
could you add my name to this, please?
Add Councilman Cheryl Stevens' name.
Okay.
And I just echo the comments of all of my colleagues. We know how critical it is that we have a new jail facility, a more humane facility. It's critical. That must happen. And we all know that the remediation of the soil was a concern, okay? But the ability, and we don't have a newspaper, we don't have ink, we can't outright anyone, we can simply do our jobs. But the community must know, and this is the opportunity for the community to look and see how routine it is that we remediate soil, whether it's benzene that has the potential to be cancerous, or methane, which is combustible, asbestos, which is another poison, water basins and toxic soil. These are the things that a county, whether local or federal or state, have the ability and the opportunity and responsibility to clean up. We have the ability to clean these things and put the land back into viable use. So to consider a jail as a roadblock and not the hurdle that we should be clear-eyed about. This is just an example of the routine work that we do, and the community should know and recognize it. And it's important, I think, that we re-emphasize it because that jail has not been built yet. And there may not be a 30 acres of farmland in downtown Cleveland that has not been used for anything but corn or wheat. So this government needs an opportunity to find a site and not to be hampered by the idea that this is the one project in all of county government that cannot use remediated soil. So that opportunity needs to be available. That option needs to be available to this county government when the time comes to find a new facility. They should not look at remediation as a drawback, as a hindrance, when we have a good 18 projects that we are doing now, that we've done for decades, and that we will continue for generations to come to remediate for economic use, for social community use, for residential housing use. But to think that a jail cannot exist on remediated soil, it is a myth, and it is a false narrative. So I will let Councilman Gallagher have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. And it is important that we remediate these areas, or there's nowhere else to go. And then you have a Chernobyl-type situation, which we don't here in Northeast Ohio. Although I've been keeping in touch and keeping up tabs with other counties in Ohio and the nation on how they're doing their jails and where we went wrong, I certainly know where we went wrong. But all we have to do is look to our friends to the east in Lake County. The 3 commissioners within a year not only locked in their costs, locked in their funding, and remediated a zone that I'm being told, I don't want anybody to know about this, so let's keep this to ourselves, that was worse than the site we had here in Cuyahoga County. Once again, leading the way, Cuyahoga County, with insanity. But we know it can be done. All we have to do is find out where it all went wrong, where the car stuttered and stopped, and look to Lorain County, to the 3 commissioners who looked at the oath that they took and fulfilled it and did not abdicate their positions to anyone else in the county, regardless of position. And also, I asked the question if the county prosecutor in Lake County was going to charge them, and that never came up. So how true that all was for a reason why we stopped the jail, I don't know. But we now know we can look to Lake County for the solution. So let's not forget that this helps everybody out, remediating properties that have been tainted over the years. And other than nuclear accident areas, everything gets remediated, as examples were given today.
Mr. President.
Yes, Councilwoman.
I just want to add that from an environmental standpoint, it's really important that we do this work and redevelop and clean up sites instead of sprawling and building things outside of Cuyahoga County in pure green space, in building jails on green space and fields, and taking away that natural resource for wildlife and for conservation. That's why this was so important to me, to be able to remediate that jail site and make it clean and not cause us to move outside into natural space. And these projects all are great examples of reinvestment, redevelopment, bringing in industry, economic development, and really stopping urban sprawl, which is really vital, that we not build everything out and take every inch of green space away, and this is the way to do this.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0408, authorizing an amendment to a contract with Med Mutual Life Insurance Company for group life, voluntary life, and accidental death insurance for county employees for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,871,168.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, I sat in the chairwoman's stead as she was out for this meeting. This was heard in committee. The next three items actually were heard in committee. The recommendation is adoption for all three, and these items are with regard to the employee benefits.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2022-0409, making an award on requisition 9686 to Vision Service Plan in the amount not to exceed $1,500,000 for vision insurance for county employees and their eligible dependents for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2025.
Move to adopt. Same.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0410, making an award on requisition 9659 to Delta Dental Plan of Ohio, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $9 million for dental insurance for county employees and their eligible dependents for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2025.
So moved.
To adopt.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
If I may, I just want to thank Councilman Gallagher for taking the lead on these three. I was out of town and appreciate him taking over and making sure that it was all handled.
Consideration of an ordinance for third reading adoption.
No, Council
Mr.
President.
President.
No.
Number 6.
Right, we just needed to make sure we got an overall vote for this.
Thank you.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, team. I appreciate that. All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay. Resolution 2022-0411, making an award on requisition 9575 to Alliant Insurance Services, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $4,648,940 for insurance brokerage and risk management services for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2024.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, my colleagues, this resolution approves a two-year contract with Alliant, our new insurance and risk management broker, for $4,648,940. Only $150,000 per year of this amount is for Alliance fees. The remainder is for the cost of anticipated insurance coverages. I recommend passage on second reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2022-0412, adopting the Cuyahoga County 2022-2027 All Hazards Mitigation Plan.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, this was heard in committee. This is the county's 5-year all hazards mitigation plan. It's funded through the State of Ohio Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. And the goal of the plan is to reduce loss of life and property affected by natural and human causes of hazards that the county may face.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Consideration of an ordinance for third reading adoption.
Ordinance 2022-0007, enacting Chapter 703 of the County Code, establishing a Justice Center Capital Projects Fund in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Section 5705.13, and authorizing the fiscal officer to transfer $53,609,757 into the Justice Center Capital Projects Fund.
Move to adopt.
All right.
Mr. President, if I may, begin again with why this ordinance was amended from the original plan was to fund the Justice Center. But now that the jail project was thwarted by certain individuals and have, really made it difficult to move forward without a funding source to accomplish our highest priority, which should be our highest priority as a council, as a county government, to provide a safe place for people who are incarcerated or inmates in our jail, to make sure that it's a safe jail, it's a humane jail, that there's sunlight, that we're able to have ADA accessibility. And I think what's really vital is that the planned jail that we envisioned would have separated out violent offenders from nonviolent offenders. It would have helped our municipal communities have a place to take their inmates and not have to maintain their municipal jail and spend tons of money doing it. It was a way to regionalize this way. And this fund will help the new executive figure out, number one, to make the needed repairs, $19 million, just to keep it at a bare minimum, but also to begin the search for land acquisition, to get consultants, to do everything that we had done to move forward with this high priority. And I hope I get support for this project, for this ordinance.
Mr. President.
Councilman Miller.
Mr. President, my colleagues, my opposition to the Justice Center Fund is well known. I believe that any large change to the ARPA plan should have been done in collaboration with Executive-elect Ronayne, and I also prefer flexible consideration of alternatives rather than lockbox budgeting. However, I would like to put the issue in a larger context. I consider this decision tonight to be tactical rather than strategic. From a strategic perspective, Cuyahoga County does need a new jail, but we are not going to succeed economically or socially if we are spending the lion's share of our resources on incarcerating our citizens and processing criminal justice. We require an all-hands-on-deck, community-wide effort to reduce crime, improve safety, and substantially reduce incarceration. It is the only workable path forward. Any other path gobbles up the resources that can help our citizens succeed and live well for ever-increasing jail-related expenses.
Thank you, Councilman Miller. And I'll add one point to the community to understand that I believe in all of those things. We want a smaller jail population. Who does not want that? When it comes time to building, that decision is not made by this body. The size of the jail, the number of inmates that are being held, individuals being held within the facility, that number will be approved by the state. They will say, we will submit a number. If it's too low, they will say no. Give us another number, a higher number. So we don't have the final say on what that jail population size will be. It is again authorized by the state, and so I think that's an important fact to remember as well. We certainly will have time for the community outside of this body to do what they can to create an environment where our jail population is not as great as it is today. And we will see how the community the stakeholders pull together to make that happen. So Councilman Strawn.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I want it very clear that I am supporting of what Mr. Gallagher had done and the desire to build a jail. But I do, as I stated in my last, and no need in reiterating, I just don't think this is the right way, and so I will not be supporting this piece of legislation.
Mr. President.
Councilman.
Thank you. I'll be supporting this piece of legislation. These were monies that were set aside. They were never promised to anybody, to any unelected official who hadn't taken office yet. And I'm more than willing to work with the executive-elect. I'd like to hear from him. I'd like to see him. So I'm more than willing to work with him on this new jail project. And I think actually council is being fiscally responsible by setting these monies aside. After that last venture we went on, 2 years or plus, with looking for a jail site, and then having it just have it blown up right in front of our eyes. I think having money set aside for a new executive will actually help that individual and his staff set some important goalposts or signposts for a new jail moving forward. And this will be a good start to come into office and actually have funding available instead of looking around and saying, I have nothing for this. And as far as other projects that the executive is looking for, we have the power of the purse, and anytime he wants to, and his administration wants to come before us and discuss important projects around the community or investment projects or economic projects, this council is always willing to listen. So I look forward to working with the new executive moving forward. So thank you.
These dollars will be available for the administration to do their due diligence, as we have done in the millions we have spent over the years in our due diligence. It will also be available to, and I'll characterize it as to continue to place the Band-Aids on the existing Justice Center until we ultimately come to that resolution. So, Councilwoman Simon.
Mr. President, if no one else has any comments, I just want to reiterate that we are not incarcerating anybody. This council's job and our duty is to provide a place for the inmates to go. We don't incarcerate, we don't sentence, and I keep hearing that somehow we do. I think it would be irresponsible to subject those who are sentenced by the judges of this county to a dilapidated, unsafe, inhumane jail. And anybody who applauds that scenario, I question why they would want anybody to be in a decrepit, dark, dank, horrific place, opposed to having something that is totally a contrast where they can have sunlight, access to the outdoors. I frankly just don't understand the glee from which I'm hearing people clap over subjecting people to having to stay in this place. It's an absolute travesty that we're in the position we're in, and this council would have been happy to collaborate with any of the executive candidates, but instead we were faced with litigation and rescinding a land deal. So collaboration should have started a month or two ago before this irreparable harm occurred, because this is irreparable. We're not going to have the land. We're not going to have the funding. We're not going to have a campus-sized jail where people are having to go up and down stairs, our COs. In case of a fire or fight, they're going up and down, and it's just horrific that somehow we are getting pleasure out of that scenario. And I'm befuddled by that. So those are my comments. I'm happy to collaborate, but that should have been done months ago. Before now we're in the position we're in, where it's going to be years, where our inmates, the guests of this county, are subjected to this place. And it's not because of county council. We don't sentence. Those are judges. So if you have a problem with the pretrial holding or the bail or those issues, you go to the court. Although they don't have an open forum, do they? This is the only place to come. And we welcome that. That's why when we created the rules of this new government, we made sure there was public accessibility. But we are not the place to come if you have a complaint about how long people stay or whether they should stay. That's not the question here. It's what we provide for those who end up there. And this council's been committed to providing a safe, humane place, and we're going to continue that. And that's why this fund is set up to help the new executive figure this out, because it's paramount that we are a humane county and we can stand above others. So those are my comments.
I appreciate that. There are so many reasons that have still not been said why a more humane facility is needed. But just to give you another example, we have spent millions on eliminating blind spots. In other words, having cameras throughout that facility, and we have not eliminated them all. But with the new facility, we can create a facility that has 0 blind spots. And why is that humane? It's humane because if something happens, you want to have it on camera. And there are instances where things happen, and they happen in the blind spots. So if you eliminate them, then you get, you can, maybe there's conformity. when you know the cameras are on. And if there's not, then you have it on camera. It's not a he say, she say. You create a safer environment. So these are the type of things that we continue to put Band-Aids on, spending millions and still have not eliminated them all, but we can address it completely and holistically and organically and fully with a new facility. You mentioned the sunlight. Okay, there's no sunlight. But what does that mean to not have sunlight? It's actually important to be able to see that it's dark. Because when someone comes into this facility, the lights are never turned off. They don't know what time it is. They don't know what day it is. When you can see outside and see that it has now become night, it helps you orient better. And why is that important? Because when an arresting officer brings you into this facility, it's important to do everything you can to bring the anxiety level down on a person who doesn't know where they're going, what time it is, what day it is. All of these things are small factors that, again, create an environment that, again, that is safer, that will have a direct impact on keeping people alive while they wait to have their time in court, because they are innocent by the letter of the law, regardless of the charges against them. They are innocent by the letter of the law. So to have individuals whose lives are in jeopardy and hurt and potentially loss of life, when you have not even been found guilty at that moment, these are the reasons to continue to push to do the right thing and to make sure the community understands better as opposed to the things that they have heard through the various media outlets. And maybe only you in the room get to know both sides of the story, but it's important that we do the best we can to let you know why this body feels the way they do. I will give the floor to, I saw Councilwoman Baker and then Councilman Gallagher.
Thank you, Mr. President. And, I have a different perspective because I was in the campaign trenches and heard a lot of the rhetoric going on firsthand. And as I said in the Plain Dealer endorsement interview, that there is a huge difference between campaigning and serving. It is so easy to throw those bombs and look for the sensational press headlines and try to, get the attention of people. But it's another to really be there to understand all the issues that are before us. And I said also in that endorsement interview, and I still stand to say it, that we don't need to wait till January before the person is, whoever it was that was elected, to roll their sleeves up and start talking to all the people that we did with the consultants and the land and the location and all the issues that we spent months, if not a couple of years, in deliberating. That could have been done. It should be done right now. And when we're still talking about dollars that should be put somewhere else, and I have to say I support this legislation because I haven't seen an alternative from the executive to be on any other plan other than not supporting what's there. Let's throw a bomb on it. Let's make headlines. Let's get elected. And to me, that seems very irresponsible at this time. We are no longer in that campaign mode, and we need to get serious about what happens with moving forward to take care of the things as Councilwoman Simon outlined. This is not campaigning anymore. This is serious business, and we should be talking to the people that we talk to. I mean, if you're going to criticize those that had 30 years of experience in making sure that what we wanted to do could be done, then let's talk to them again, and you knock them down face to face and tell them why it is that that's not possible. So I support this legislation for mostly that reason. I just have not heard anything to justify that we are moving forward at all in this jail, in the jail capital projects. And this fund is something I think we should put aside. And until I think that hear later, hopefully, that there is some serious conversation about this and stop trying to make something out of a headline that sells papers. That needs to end. It needs to end now. We're out of the campaign. So hopefully that's helpful. I don't know. Like I said, I'm disappointed that we haven't heard more. But January is right around the corner now. We're in December. And we will wait and see just what kind of progress we'll be making. But that's from a perspective of someone who was there and heard it over and over and over again. You know, like I said earlier, if you say something enough, even if it's wrong, you keep pounding and pounding and pounding and get a few people to agree, it becomes a fact. And it was never the truth to begin with. But that's the power of the pen. And hopefully we will be able to overcome that when we have more people cooperating and genuinely working together. Thank you, Mr. President.
Did I see any other hands? Yes, Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two of my colleagues are attorneys, so they certainly know more than I do. I worked in the courts for almost 30 years, so I've been behind the curtain. I kind of know what I'm talking about. I've seen it. I used to work in the jail. A lot of people don't know that. Anybody out there that clapped ought to be ashamed, because it's a dangerous, dangerous place. But I don't think you understand that. I don't think you know that. We don't control anything in that jail other than the sheriff and our employees. The courts control it. We don't hold people there. We don't incarcerate people there. It's not a prison. It's basically a holding place so the courts can do their job and either let the people out if they're not guilty, or move them on to wherever they're going to go if they are. It's as simple as that. But if you haven't been in that facility, don't clap. It's dangerous. You wouldn't put your worst enemy in that building. I don't even go back over there anymore. It's horrible. It's horrible. And it's dangerous, not just for the inmates, but for our population of people that work there. Like I said earlier, Lake County got this done in a year. We could have, no doubt about it. But we went a different route, and we ended up where we're at. We're going to be putting $19 million into that facility. It's $19 million of your dollars for a Band-Aid. It's not going to make it better. It's just going to keep it together until a new one is built. And a new one will be built, whether we like it or not. I wish we were building something beautiful and wonderful and happy. But it's a necessity in a free society that you have facilities to allow the courts to do their function. And that's all that the county jail is. It's just a holding place. And very rare, and we're not gonna cut the population. We've done what we could. We did the 24/7 booking is really what's going to do it. We're doing booking, but we're not doing 24/7 booking. That will be the only thing that cuts the number, and it won't be substantial. But it'll be some people that don't deserve to be in jail. Right now, there are people in that jail in a dangerous place that don't really belong there. And the argument would be, well, a new jail won't be the same. It'll be better. It'll provide health care better than we can now. You know what walked out the door that broke my heart more than anything? Was we had in the plan 300-bed, basically in-house hospital for psychological and medical purposes. I challenge anybody out there to clap that I'll take you over there myself against my best wishes to go in a building I don't want to even park underneath. And I'll take you over where our medical facility is there. You're not going to believe it. And it's way better now than when we started. But out the door went a 300-bed facility. Nothing to clap about. That's where people are going to get help. People with psychological problems and physical problems that we could have taken care of while they're in our custody and care. Not incarceration, in our custody and care. That's gone. So now we're stuck putting $19 million Band-Aids on a facility that will be replaced. Can't be redone. We turned a kitchen over there into a dorm-style. It looks like a Marine barracks.
so we could put more bodies in there. The lighting that we put in, and there were windows on 2 of the walls, not enough for the state of Ohio. We had to put lighting in there that mimics natural light because the state wasn't going to give us permission to use it. That's how bad this thing is. We're mimicking natural light because it doesn't qualify to be a jail anymore. You got a ADA person in your life, don't go to jail. It's not ADA compliant. And to comply the courthouse, the justice center, and the jail, ADA compliant only, not an upgrade, just compliance is $250 million. You wonder why we're frustrated? That number just went up. So if you want to go over, let me know. I'll take you. So we all can get on the same page here. And we welcome you here. But please know what you're clapping about. There are people in danger right now as we sit here. We know it. Now you know it. So I welcome you to learn more about that facility. I welcome you. I wouldn't put my worst enemy in that facility. So that's where we're at with this. 19 million of these dollars are basically already gone for Band-Aids. There's going to be more, and it's keeping it going until we finally can move forward with a new facility. And all we've done is waste time, and time is money, and money is something we're running out of quite quickly. And I welcome the new administration to come up with a better plan than we have. I don't know if that's possible. I can only hope for the best. So that's where I'm at with this. You want to go over there? I'll get a bus. I'll pay for it. I'll take you over there. Right, Counselor? I'll take you. Thank you.
Councilman, it is possible. I believe we can. We look forward to working hand in hand with the new administration, as we always have. All right. If there are no further comments, all those in favor? Oh, yes, please. Yes, Meredith, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the preamble to the Constitution of the United States comes to mind. In order to form a more perfect union. So the founders acknowledged that they weren't perfect and that they were striving to be more perfect. And we're not perfect. The court has a function. The executive will have a vision. And the council has a job to do. And I would like to do my job. I've been an activist. I've been an advocate. I know how much determination and passion and commitment that takes. So I applaud you. I am not abandoning the staff, the corrections officers, cute little drug-seeking dogs that I go and visit from time to time. But we have to make a decision. We had a plan. We're not saying that we have one now. We're saying we want to work with the executive-elect. I know I plan to work with him, and we're going to talk about this on Monday. So we're just authorizing a financial source to make sure that when he brings his vision to us, that we're able to fund it in part. So I will be supporting this legislation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilwoman, any further comments from anyone? Not, Andrea, let's have a roll call.
Mr. Schron?
No.
Ms. Conwell?
Yes.
Ms. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Stevens?
Yes.
Ms. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Baker? Mr. Miller?
No.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Tuma?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher? Council President Jones?
Yes.
The motion carries. We have 9 voting in the affirmative and 2 casting dissenting votes.
right, thank you. At this time, miscellaneous committee reports. There are no committee reports. Andrea, why don't you give us an update on our next meeting for this month, and only meeting for this month?
Can I just clarify, can we just go back and make sure we have we have the majority vote, but just for the third reading adoption, the first and the second, and I just want to clarify one last time.
For Resolution 7,
Yes.
Ordinance 7,
Yes,
who made the
I
motion?
think Sonny did. Did he
Thank
make the
you.
motion?
Sonny made the motion, that's correct.
I don't know who
Second
seconded
came
it.
from.
Wasn't me.
Was it me? I think it was me.
Let's give it to
thank
Meredith.
you. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you so much. Okay, and just as a reminder, everyone, our next meeting will take place, it's a special meeting on Friday, December 16th at 10:30 a.m. And it's the last meeting of the year.
All right, thank you, Andrea. Miscellaneous business, all right.
President, I have one before we get to the fun stuff.
Okay, what would you like?
I just want to say we had a historic weekend in Canton, Ohio. To start out with, that Coach Ginn finally brought one home with Glenville, the Tar Blooders, our Division VI champion. Never has a man put so much of his life into one thing than to take young men, mold them, put them into what turns out to some Heisman Trophy winners, and he finally gets that elusive state championship, which tells you how difficult it is, which goes right into the loss of one of the best coaches I've ever heard of and ever witnessed was Chuck Kyles leaving St. Ignatius High School. And for a gentleman like that, again, a coach that took young men, molded them, and moved them out to even the professional levels. Fantastic. Other than Augie Basu at Benedictine, I can't think of anyone that's done more than Ginn and Coach Kyle. But on to the mighty St. Edward Eagles taking down a worthy opponent for the second year in a row, Springfield Wildcats. Mighty Eagles are now your back-to-back Division I big school champs, and we are here to share the crown with everybody in Cleveland and our friends down in Glenville. And we welcome everybody to stop by the school and see what a championship trophy looks like. So God bless the boys at St. Ed's. My heart's with you.
Hey, Mike, good job, Mike.
Lady should have been first on that, Mr.
Yes,
President.
he certainly has.
Just
He
to
jumped in
let
front
you
of
know.
you.
But that's all right.
Stole your thunder.
So
Go right
I want to say congratulations to the mighty Tar Blooders, and I'm proud to announce that it's the first time that a Cleveland municipal school won their first state championship in 51 years. So kudos to St. Ed's and all that they've done over the years, but this is a big deal. This is a big deal, so if everyone can, this is something you can clap for.
Go Tar Brothers.
Yes, thank you. There's a parade tomorrow from Glenville High School. I think it was on the news, and they will go all the way down to City Hall to show the young students that worked so hard and diligently won. And it's not just that they won a game, but what it stands for is the first time, all that rah-rah. It is tomorrow, I believe, at 10:30, and thank you. 10 a.m. All right.
And I just want to give my congratulations to the Tar Bloods and to Ted Ginn. And I'll share this. Everyone knows Ted Ginn, the greatness of Ted Ginn, and some of his students go on to play in the NFL and all those things, that great cherry on the top. But his school is what he considers a CTAG school. Whereas this county has created a CTAG initiative and put one mentor in local high schools, Ted Ginn considers his entire school a school of at-risk youth. And he has a 98% graduation rate out the door. That is the true greatness of Ted Ginn. And again, I just commend him and all of the students that are part of the school that he leads. And again, just congratulations all around to everyone. Any further comments of anyone? Councilman Miller?
Mr. President and my colleagues, just want to mention that my wife, Carol, taught for 2 years at Glenville High School and knew Ted Ginn Sr. personally and worked with him on helping some of her students. So I also followed this very closely and share in the joy of the Tar-Blooders' victory.
Mr. President?
Yes.
If I may, everyone knows this is my official last full council meeting. I know we're going to meet one more time later this month, but this is one that I'm sure I will probably not see again. So I just wanted to say that it was a pleasure to work with all of you over the last 6 years, and the heart of Cuyahoga County is complex, as we just finished talking about, when it comes to not only the jail, but all the need that is there, and it's real. I believe that you are all dedicated representatives of this council, and although we may not have had always agreed on different issues, we always move forward to come back for another day to serve to the best of our ability. And that's the way government should work. It should work that way. We should have open debate. We should have differences, and we vote and we move on. But I do thank you for your respect that you've given me and the support of the many projects that will enhance the quality of life for the residents of District 1. And to our council staff, Joe Nanny, Trevor McAleer, Andrea Richardson, and the beautiful flowers that are behind me that she presented earlier today, Brendan Doyle, Levine Cross, Janine Carter, Jim Boyle, Cynthia Mason, Sharon Georgia Kopolis, Mike King, and Molly McGillis. Thank you. Your assistance in answering all the follow-up questions, and I know I ask a lot of questions before and after the issues, but all of you make a great team, and your professionalism and guidance are beyond reproach. So thank you very much for all the support that you've given me behind the scenes that no one ever sees, that we work on together. And to our directors and employees of Cuyahoga County, thank you for your dedication in serving the residents of this county. I sincerely appreciate all of our directors answering questions that I have asked over the years with professionalism and with detail. We have had our challenges, and I wish you well in 2023, as difficult decisions will need to be made to move this county forward, as we just discussed here at length. I would also like to take a minute to say how grateful I am to the voters for allowing me to serve them for the last 27 years, from school board in Westlake to Westlake City Council to serving at the Ohio House for 8 years, and now the opportunity to serve as a Cuyahoga County Council member. As a small business owner for 37 years in the private sector, I always tried to bring the understanding of the importance of small business and the real value that they bring to our cities, our counties, our state, and country. I know you've heard this before, but small business are truly the backbone of our economy, and I am grateful to bring that reality to public service when possible. 27 years of public service has passed quickly, including the 6 years on County Council, and I wish my council members all the best in months ahead. I know you will all serve the residents of Cuyahoga County to the best of your ability. I wish our new county executive the best in building a respectful and productive relationship with council. I look forward to spending more time with my husband, Craig. I know he looks forward to that too after all these years, and family. I always believe that when a door closes, a window will open. For now, I will finish out the year on County Council and enjoy the Christmas holiday. Thanks again, voters. I sincerely mean that, for putting your faith in me to serve you for so many years. I have done my best, and I am sincerely humbled for your years of support. Thank you very much, Council. It's been a pleasure to serve with you.
Come on. Come on.
All right.
Thank you for that. Unnecessary,
Nan,
but I appreciate it.
Nan, when you said you thought you asked a lot of questions, I just assumed Dave Greenspan told you to do that when you
He
took
was
over.
big shoes to fill, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, your colleagues, they all have something they like to say. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Councilman Dale Miller, you can see he's at the mic ready to go. So we're going to let him go, and we're going to go in order down the line. All right.
Mr. President, my colleagues, and to Nan, you have served the county council with distinction and have greatly contributed to expanding council's oversight effectiveness. I believe that you asked more committee questions than any other member during your time in office. You authored legislation to ensure that the Inspector General and audit findings get a response from the affected department. You were constantly on guard for any misspending of county funds. There is no stronger champion for the needs of small business, and you looked at everything that comes through the door through that lens. Your pursuit of late contracts at the Board of Control was legendary. And so much so that the meeting materials now routinely contain explanations of late contracts without our even having to ask for it. The Board of Control will never be the same. You also set the standard for working in full collaboration with the mayors in your district, and you also led the creation of a transformational set of projects for your district using the ARPA money. You exemplify what council stands for: diligence, oversight, leadership, and conviction without partisanship. It has been a real pleasure to work with you closely on many things, and I wish you all the very best of success in whatever things come next. Best
Thank you,
wishes.
Dale. That's, wow, that is, especially coming from you as our finance person, and wow, I don't know what else to say. It has just been an honor to be part of it. I know how hard all of you work. Like I said, we have our differences, but we always come back the next day with a full set of let's roll our sleeves up and get the work done. So I appreciate all those comments. It was very good of you. Thank you.
Mr. President, Councilwoman, I had the privilege of serving with you at the State House and the privilege of serving you here. I came up with 3 P's: professional, always; prepared, always; and always principled, and you should be commended for that. But the thing I'm going to remember you for is the Guardians Indians package, and I'm going to urge them to call it the Nan Baker Family Value Pack. And it's right here on the website, and 2022 was sold out as soon as they put it in. And just think about what she did. We're all talking about the dollars and cents and the union, non-union. She said, time out. I want to see if people that normally can't go to a game can go to a game. And without her, it's $100, $200, $300 to go to a game if you have a family of 4. $80, you get 4 tickets, $10 each, $40 on a loaded card, and you get to go to the game on Saturdays and Sundays when families can go. And I'm going to offer to them on their website, searching for something the whole family can enjoy, bring everyone to a Guardians game. The new Family Value Pack makes game day even more affordable, because of Councilwoman Nan Baker. I'm going to see if I can get that added to it, and if I need support from my colleagues, I might ask to push that to the finish line. And I'm kind of serious about that because without her, it doesn't happen. So
thank you for that.
congratulations, and I wish you the best.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, I guess it's my turn.
It doesn't have to be.
No. I mean, I don't mean it like that. So Nan, we share a sense of commonality coming in together.
Yes. Yes.
And I remember the early days with Dale inviting us
Yes.
for dinner.
That's true.
And I remember getting ready to, yes, there was no council presidency or anything like that. We were just talking about procedure and stuff, yes. But I do remember going out there and knowing the only thing I really knew about you were a Republican from Columbus. And I said, a Democrat from Parma going to meet a Republican for only in politics, right? But the way it's worked out, you've proven to be a very effective, a very good, a very caring council person. You've always been informed, always fiscally responsible, always put your concerns of your constituents and Cuyahoga County first. So with that, I wish you well, and God bless, and spend that time with your family.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure working with you, too. It's Public Works. We shared together for quite a few years and learned a lot. It's one thing about county council and all the committees that we have. What we learn and evolve and how engaged we are, I don't think that's reported nearly as much as it should be. All the committees that we look at, every single proposal that comes to us goes to committee and is deliberated and goes through readings and has a lot of dialogue. And I don't think we're given enough credit for that. Outside of that, all of it that's put on video. Go to YouTube, listen to anything you want. It's more transparent than anything I've ever served on, and I've served on quite a few different places. And I've never seen as open and transparent as it is here. You want to go back 5 years, you can go back 5 years and find out what was said. Hopefully there'll be a little bit of that with the jail. They can go back and review what we've already done and not have to repeat it. But thank you. It's been a pleasure to serve with you too, Mr. Tuma.
Nan, when you come into this, I call it like kind of a family, and everybody's a character in that family, and I'm guessing I'm pretty much a character in that family that I hope everybody at some point in time will remember in a fond way, if they can find that out. But we're always welcome to you as a family member here. I know it's hard coming in when we got established. Many of us were the originals, as we called ourselves, and we went through the early battles and the difficult times, but it didn't mean that we didn't go through more difficult times as when you came in and Scott came in and everyone else as they came in and replaced very good family members. So just keep in mind, you'll always be a member of this family. And if there's any question in that, all you have to do is look at Greenspan.
He's here.
We still look fondly upon him. So, and that's difficult.
Yeah.
If it weren't for Mary, I don't know what we'd do with them. But I wish you the best.
Thank
You've
you.
represented actually my entire family in the West Shore. And I know they've appreciated your efforts throughout all this years in your career.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best with your family and especially your grandkid.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Mike. And good luck, I know, with all the work that you've put in, especially when it comes to the jail and all that it's evolved to be. You will be successful. You all will be successful because you're going to persevere and get it done. I know that for a fact.
Well, Nan, I remember we had early conversations way before you ever
That is
decided to
true.
even run. And I said, this will be one of the most rewarding things you can do because unlike being one of 99, you actually are one of 11. And as Mike alluded to, this is a family. I mean, families have their disagreements at times, but they're always circle the wagons back around. And so you will truly be missed. I know that your dedication, I don't think people understand all those meetings that you went to on the Board of Control and all the times that it takes. And I just kept saying, thank goodness I'm not on that committee. No suggestions here. And I mean,
There's always next year.
The fact that we put an early threshold limit of $500,000 in, and how much you saved all the rest of the other 10 of us, or the Board of Control folks, effort because of what you did. And you asked the right questions. You asked the tough stuff, and stuff that all would have shown up on our desk is stuff that was handled by the Board of Controls. I mean, you, and I loved working with you on the committees when I was on Public Works. I loved having you on Economic Development because I think you understood, as a businesswoman, you understood that that job is the fundamental thing that is the greatest social contract that anything can do. It will have more of an impact than any other social contracts out there because you give people a reason to get up in the morning, to get a paycheck, and to do that. So you understood that, and that's why I have a passion for economic development, and you share that same passion. So there's zero doubt that we are going to miss everything you bring to the table.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best, and I know God will take care of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack. And you know, absolutely. At the Ohio House, again, I actually chaired the Economic Development Committee, And I told at the time Leader Batchelder, after talking to many of our residents during a summer of just talking with a lot of people, that when I came back during the time of 2008, 2009, 2010, when things were really, I mean, it was really bad. The interest rates were high, unemployment was high. And I said to Leader Batchelder, you know, Leader Batchelder, it's all about jobs. And he said, are you sure about that? And I said, yeah, it's all about jobs. And of course, as time went on, 6 months, 8 months later, everyone, of course it is, it's all about jobs with unemployment at almost 20% in some parts of the. So we actually had badges that everyone at the Ohio House wore that said, it's all about jobs. And so I take that legacy from there to here, and I'm thankful that you recognize that. And it is, I think, the most important thing we can do is to get people to work, be satisfied by working, and raise their quality of life through effort. And I will always feel that way, and I'm glad that, and I know that you share it. So thank you for the opportunity to work with you.
All right. Nan, how do I say goodbye to what you brought to the choir committee and to
That's
the
right.
HR Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee, not to mention the Committee of the Whole and the different discussions that we've had? The good times that made us laugh outweigh the bad. You've always put Cuyahoga County and District 1 residents first in your decisions. Your tenure on this council and your position on various issues has been respected and appreciated by me. And I just want to thank you, County Councilwoman Nan Baker. It is so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
Thank you, Councilwoman. You know, I do really respect the work that you put in. I think of all the issues that we deal with out here. I mean, I can talk about jobs and the economy, but you have your hands in the trenches of people who are in need the most. And I salute you for that, because that is really a place where I haven't spent a lot of time. I understand the need. I support the need. I listen intently when different issues and programs are put before us. But you are actually there, and you believe it, you work it, and you spend your time trying to make sure that those that are in most need here in Cuyahoga County get the services that we are really here to make sure they get. And for that, I'm grateful to work with you, and thank you for your positive comments.
Councilwoman Baker,
No.
my life has been shaped by dynamic, bold women, and you're a part of that.
Thank you for that.
I've seen these young ladies around for a while, my Democratic colleagues, and sometimes people like me and people that I know, we don't get your way that often. And I know I would get questions like, about all of you, actually. You know, what was it like? You know, what is it like working with you all? And one day I'll tell you all the story about each of you, but, Sunny, she's the animal rights environment council person and so on and so forth. But when I would get to you, I would always say, Nan is just contrary, and I mean that with the most respect, because as I'm learning how to be a councilwoman, I have watched you and I've listened to you wrangle a question and just find things that I didn't hear from any of the other colleagues, and you would cause me to think and inquire in a different way than I've been accustomed to. And I absolutely strive to be the woman that you are, the legislator that you have been for all of us. You have received numerous advocacy awards. You've been the Woman of the Year. And I hope to be a Hall of Famer in my local high school one day as well.
How do you know all that?
And so I feel a little cheated that, this part of our journey ends here. But when one door closes, another opens. And so I look forward to staying in touch with you.
Thank you. And those are, really very profound statements. I think that it's good that we have differences and different viewpoints and come together, because I listen too, and I listen to some examples that I didn't consider either. And as I said with Yvonne, her dedication to those that are in most in need is not usually a place where I have been. So to listen to that and to understand it and make sure that she gets the resources and understanding and respect, I appreciate that. So thank you for that. I do think that differing opinions and debate is good, and I hope that that continues next year. I know you certainly have others on council that push back quite a bit, and that is a healthy thing, in my opinion, to do. So thank you. I appreciate it.
As you all know, I have traveled this state this year and learned about a lot of different things. But one of the most wonderful things about coming home is the honor that some people always bring with themselves. So, Nan, you are the honorable gentle person from District 1. As you know from having been involved in state politics, some of your former colleagues were not always gentle people. They did not always recognize the value of differing opinions or the need to come to compromise and understand what makes a difference in urban centers versus rural areas. Your commitment to helping understand issues related to the jail, because you, like I, did not come here with jail issues as a priority, is recognizable, commendable, and laudable. Thank you for your commitment, for trying to help us figure out a better way to deal with people who've not always made the best decisions on their life choices. Your leadership, a servant type of leadership, which is respectable for people of faith, is incredibly honorable, and I am glad to have served with you, the gentle person from District 1.
Thank you. You know, and I hear that. Oh, you're quiet. You don't say too much. But that's my weapon. You know, that's what I do. I say it when I need to and don't when I don't have to. And that's, I think, you know, what true leaders need to do, is to understand and respect and get along, but also push back when there's differing opinions, especially when it's unimportant opinions, like with the jail and with the ERP system that we spent. Oh, my goodness. I mean, we're finally on a track now. We better stay on that track. Finally on a track where I think that we have arrived. So no more ERP discussions and consultants and all that we went through in order to keep that going. But I thank you for your comments, and it's been a pleasure also, Councilwoman Stevens, to work with you and to participate alongside you on many of the issues that we've been able to overcome.
Well, Nan.
Last but not least.
Yes, I was, you know, for all intents and purposes, you know, we shouldn't have been able to, you know, communicate and have a friendship based on our political opposition.
Yeah.
District 1, District 11 were foils. I was even warned, you know, that Nan Baker is more conservative maybe than Dave Greenspan, and I better watch out. Well, guess what? Almost day one, I learned right away and respected your ability to listen, to understand, to be patient. And we learned that we had things in common.
We did.
Outside of politics. And that even some of our values, which shouldn't have been on the same par, were. And I think if we were in DC or at the State House, I don't think we would have been able to have this friendship. And this is the tradition of this county council, is to rise above and transcend politics and be bipartisan and work for the good of the county. And you've demonstrated that, you know, beyond words. And I'm always going to remember, you know, this time we've had together, and to have a strong woman, a woman who campaigned for years and ahead of her time, I would imagine, back in the day, having a woman come out in politics as strong as you did and overtake an incumbent, if I recall. And so the respect I have for you is what I'm going to remember in our friendship and the bipartisanship. And I'll never forget, I really don't care what political affiliation someone's with, because, there's always this part of us, and the hardworking, prepared Nan Baker. I don't think anyone is going to be as prepared. And this came out with the deer sterilization on Zoom during COVID. Nan asked a question about overectomy as a form of sterilization, and she had read everything, and no one else, I don't think, will ever pick that up. And I appreciated that moment, and it stuck with me how prepared you are, even to that detail. So, Nan, thank you so much as being a colleague, and I'm not going to forget our friendship and how that came to be.
That's very nice. And, we have found through time that we are more alike than not, and that we do agree. And, all of us really come from a place where we want the best for Cuyahoga County. So you start there, and then from there you may splinter off into different positions, but we always come back to what's best for Cuyahoga County. And as long as that becomes your center, then there is never an issue you can't come to terms with. And like I said earlier, you can have a difference, you say your say, you make your vote, and you come back and you fight another day. And I, too, think that we have found a kinship in understanding each other. And I think I said at one point, we need to write that down. Here's another one that we, even with the redistricting, yes, we were shoulder to shoulder on that. We said, no, these districts are in a good place and we don't need to change them. And we were together on that. And many other things. So I certainly appreciate that and admire what you do and what's important to you, and bringing forward that for all of us to learn and understand. So thank you, Sonny, for your friendship.
Well, Nan, so much has been said, so many good things. I just reflect on, again, a councilman, Republican councilwoman from Westlake, and a county councilman from the inner city of Cleveland, living right by the bulk of public housing, and the contrast. Again, we would have thought there was nothing to relate and connect. But I remember Councilman Dave Greenspan, your predecessor. He brought me to Westlake and toured his district, and I got to see a different experience. And he did the same. He came into my district, and we toured and started a bond from there. You and I didn't do that, but we've had so many conversations just on the phone, just talking, and many times me just picking up the phone to call you to get your thoughts and your insight. Because you have been a sincere council person. You've been very meticulous, detailed, and professional. And as everyone has said, you dug into the work, and it meant something to you. So even if it wasn't your experience, you were willing to dig in and learn and relate to the best of your ability and make the best decision that you could. And I feel like what we have done here on council, I wish it was the same way at the state and federal level. Just to have such a diverse body, and but that's the type of person you are and what you have brought to this body. And I count it a blessing for you to call you a friend, and the time we've worked together, I've enjoyed it, and I just wish you the best in the future in all your endeavors.
And I too enjoyed our conversations. I know it just seems that when there is something that's kind of high level and we have to make a decision and where are you on it, we talk in depth, and I appreciate that. I mean, you didn't just say, oh, well, okay, that's where you're off, check that box. You actually want to know how I felt about it, where I am, and why. And I appreciated that. I mean, you didn't have to spend that kind of time with me, and you did. And I believe that you truly listened to a different viewpoint, perhaps, of what you've heard elsewhere. You did visit Bradstreet Landing.
I did, that's
yes, right. And Mayor Bopes was very grateful for that. I look forward to that opening. The pandemic, unfortunately, has set it back, but I believe it will be opening, if not this year still, probably first quarter of next year, and it's a jewel. And I thank all of you for that support. That is a lake project that our residents regionally will use, walking down that pier and enjoying it for years. And even I didn't mention earlier the ARPA funds that we were historically able to push into our districts. I mean, I have the Lakefront project in Bay Village and the enhancement of our safety forces in Rocky River and demolition in North Olmsted and Westlake of old school buildings that are vacant that are now going to be turned into parks. And even in Fairview Park, they have a service garage, which may not sound exciting to anyone, but to them, that's a big deal. It's a big deal that they would never be able to do it without the ability of us helping them fund that. And it will help many of the West Shore districts, including the storage of equipment. So, you know, we may get criticized on those things, and maybe that's not quite really understood what it means for our districts. But I said even, you know, again, in the Plain Dealer editorial, that we are regional. We use those funds regionally because from Westlake to Eastlake, every city got touched. Either their border city or that city, they all got touched, and they all created a quality of life that through the hardship of that pandemic, the loss of jobs and a loss of businesses that may not ever come back because of it, we were able to backfill and bring prosperity to some of those even small townships that, you know, may not ever see that kind of dollars ever spent again in trying to enhance the residents of their cities. So I am very grateful to be able to have done that for my cities, and beyond the Bradstreet Landing, the ARPA dollars, and even today with the West Tech dollars of ensuring that those that put their lives out there for us have the equipment they need to make sure that if there's a natural disaster, they have the right equipment to use to keep them safe. And the dispatch center, which is now going to be studied, that perhaps we'll put a dispatch center in the West Shore that will be not only fire and EMS, but will include police with a variety of different cities. So it's been a journey that I will always remember here serving with all of you. And I, as I said, am grateful to the voters for allowing me not only to be here, but the other years of service that how many people can say that they've done, and the engagement in my cities that, you know, as all of you know, you meet some wonderful people along the way, people that volunteer and give of themselves, that are genuinely good people that care about their communities and their families and do everything they can to make it better for someone else. So I am grateful for that. I mean, I'm saddened that it ends, you know, this year, but I am reflecting back on all the years that I was given, and I will never be saddened by the opportunities that I was given. So thank you all, and keep your head up. You're gonna, you know, have another person here. I'm sure that person will roll up their sleeves and do the best they can, just like all of you. When someone is called to serve, they serve, and just as all of you did. And I'll be watching. I don't know how closely. I may take a break for a while. Hopefully in 6 months, I'll hear the jail is selected, built, and ready to go.
All right.
Thank you again, and I'll see you.
Well, Nan, I need you to do one last thing.
Uh-oh,
Do
what's
this.
that?
I want you to come down and stand by the microphone. I'm going to join you.
Oh, get a picture? Oh, what do you
Right now.
have? Oh, my goodness. Oh. You guys could all join us. You want to join us?
No, come on.
Yeah, we could put the
Still wondering what an overectomy is.
So keep everyone engaged. This is a plaque presented to you for your outstanding service and tireless dedication while serving on the Cuyahoga County Council.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Proclamation for you.
Okay.
Let's get all of council.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
No,
I'm gonna just stay up here and
There you go.
Coming down there?
Yvonne,
Coming down there or staying up here?
squeeze in real quick.
Stay up here. Yeah, please sit here.
That's good. Just, if you guys stay up front.
That'll work. No, they said they want some up.
Yvonne, are you coming? Oh, okay.
You want us down there
All right.
now?
Man, super dividers.
All right. I mean, come on. We gotta get rid of it. Time for us to get rid of these dividers. That's the scene from, no.
Okay.
All right, council meeting is adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
This is Gilda Malone. She's